appreciate you talking to me because I was very excited about the movie and the character. I also cover theme parks. I've been going to Disneyland since I was a child. So the idea of this movie was so much fun to me. And I love that the changes that they made to this character.
Oh, good to hear.
There has been a lot of talk about how problematic this character is for a long time. So it was nice I love the whole like female energy they're bringing to some of the rides at Disneyland now.
Yes, me too. I think it's fantastic.
I'm curious, when this role of Trader Sam in a big Disney movie based on the Jungle Cruise ride came your way, how much were you actually told about it? How did they describe the character? What did they tell you?
Well, there were very little things that they told me. I knew they were still deciding if they wanted a woman or a man to play it. So I know they were casting both actors, female and male. I knew the character a little bit because of Disney, because the first time I came to Disneyland, I think it was probably the first or the second ride I jumped in. So I remember the character. I knew it was going to be different. And I don't exactly recall the description in the casting, but it was, it made allusion that the character was a little bit of a merchant, a little bit of an inventor, a little bit of a chief of a tribe. It was a little eccentric, funny, and a good business, it had a good business sense. But it also had, the way I read it, it read to me that it could be a bit eccentric, and I love that. I love not only that he was taking care of his people, of his tribe or her tribe in this case, but, at the beginning, as I say, we didn't know if it was a man or a woman. And I love this creativity of the character, how he can turn something into a business and he can make something into, use something for something it was not meant to be used. So that creative part and the part of being protective to the tribe and trying to provide for them and help them, that was two of the things that I like most about the character. And yeah, I mean, the idea that I could potentially be cast to play a character in a Disney ride, it's quite fantastic for me as a little girl that came from Mexico to finally go to Disneyland for the first time in my life at 11 or 12 years old. And to think that I was going to possibly be able to do a character like that was quite fantastic.
And it's cool because it is one of those classic rides that was there on opening day. And it's a ride everybody goes on because it's not too scary. And I think it's really fun that they were able to do this with it. And then still, be able to see that there are changes that need to be made with a Absolutely. Ride that's older. So I love that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
It also seems really fun to get to be a part of a big epic adventure.
It is a lot of fun. I didn't thought I got the movie because I did the audition. And of course, this is one of the characters that come once in a lifetime in an actor's life and you want it, but you don't know. I work hard at it and I'm like, I hope they like the audition and that's all you can hope for. You're going to be competing with actors that are equally as good or much better than you. So you just really throw it out there and just have to let go because you cannot worry about that too much. But something really funny happened. I auditioned for this role and like 2-3 weeks later, I was in Mexico City. And a dear friend of mine, which is a fantastic actor, he has done a lot of work all over, here in the States and in Mexico. He was auditioning for this part. And he told me, he's like, I'm auditioning for a really interesting part in a Disney movie. And I say, I know which one, because, that was and he's like, how do you know? I say, because I auditioned for that too. He's like, but you're a woman. I say, yeah, and you're a man. And here we are. I don't know who they're going to choose, but it was funny. And he's such a fantastic actor. It would have been very interesting to see him if it could have been male, the character. But, I got lucky. And then So after that happened, the thing is, I thought, okay, well, it's probably not going to be for me. They're seeing, because I really respect him as an actor, and I'm sure they were seeing a lot of great people. So, I let go of that, and I went on a family vacation with my son. And I was in Barcelona, which is actually the city where Jaume Collet-Serra is from, and they call me and they're like, well, director wants to talk to you. So I talk with Jaume, and I didn't know, he was very nice. He explained me what he wanted, what they liked. And that was that. And then like 3 days later, I got the call that I got to play this role. And it was very surreal, the whole thing, just go there and be able to play this character and see, Dwayne dressed as skipper and the whole Jungle Cruise thing and the sets that are incredible. It was incredible. Like, the tagline of the movie says, the adventure of a lifetime. I felt like it was kind of like my adventure of a lifetime.
Yeah, because it seems like, as an actor, you want to tick one box that's like, either a good script or a good director or a good cast, and you have all of those and this big adventure, and then the Disney connection and the ride. I mean, it just seems like so many cool and fun elements at once.
And the most amazing thing is not only that, like, of course, you have all these check boxes, that are like great. But on top of that, I got to work with people that are very kind, very generous, and very supportive, which is not always the case. Like you can find all sorts of people, but in the case of Jungle Cruise, I've been very lucky because I'm very lucky with the cast and the people I work with. But especially in Jungle Cruise, the way Emily and Dwayne and Jack and Jaume and Disney received me, and they were so kind and supportive, and I'm not just saying this because I know a lot of times you guys as journalists must hear like, oh, okay, another cast that really gets along, but we really, when you see Dwayne and Emily and Jack like joking around and the kind of chemistry they have in the movie, it's real. It really happened behind the scenes. So I had like the most fun because I would just look at them or sometimes participate in this great rapport that they had, and that's fun. So it was one of those wonderful projects.
Was there also a process for figuring out the look of the character once you had been cast? Did you try various looks before the one we see in the film, or was there always a very clear idea of what she would wear and how she would look?
Well, Paco Delgado and Joel Harlow, they are fantastic. They're really masters of what they do. And they were the design of the character was already done. They were adjusting little things. But what I must say, not only they were incredibly prepared and they had everything designed, they were also very open and generous. So like if I had something, that was not comfortable or that I couldn't move or that I wanted a suggestion or something, they always incorporate that. My character is very gestural, it moves a lot, the hands. So I was talking about it with Joel, our makeup designer, and he was like, oh, okay, so maybe I'll put more stuff in the hands. And that idea of putting the eye here, like you see in the poster, of course, that's his. So they really are so good at what they do. They know that an actor needs to make their design, because we do it together. It's not just an actor. It's like a whole bunch of people working. So this character can be seen the way it is. And we all are very respectful of one another. But I remember Paco was the first guy I met, Paco Delgado, our costume designer. And I saw this incredible amount of pictures and paintings and costumes that he was thinking for the character. And I was just really amazed. I really loved all of them, And we were trying some of the costumes and some things were a little difficult to move. And he was like, no worry, let me adjust that. And he would do like little something, move here, move that, and then I would be able to move. So that's what makes them great. Not only they are creative and but they also know how to work with actors and how to help us, create the character and move with their costumes or with their makeup.
I love that we get a real sense too of a history and a backstory with this character and with her relationship with Frank. Did you think much about like what she's doing when we don't get to see her, what kind of life she lives when she's not scheming with him?
Absolutely. I thought about it a lot. I thought that she likes one of the things she loves doing, I think, is experimenting with things. Like she would find like something an expedition left, I don't know, like maybe some eyeglasses, and she would find 10,000 different uses for the eyeglasses. um, I also could imagine her very well, like training and seeing how people are trained in the village, playing with kids, because she was a little bit of a kid herself, because of this creativity. I also can imagine her like sitting and meditating, looking at the stars, and thinking of either some really deep philosophical question that she doesn't even know how deep it is, to thinking of how she's going to trick Frank again, and how they can make a better deal, and how can they, I can see her totally like worrying about what's going on, like in the Amazons. In those days, it wasn't as terrible as it is now, but I could see that she was someone that could see ahead, and I also could imagine her dreaming about traveling. She loved that, and she loved animals. She loved food, for example. So all those things, I really imagine her world. And one of the things that helped most, and I wasn't expecting it as such, the first time I saw the tree where she lives with the village, literally, I'm not kidding you, I almost felt like crying. It was that beautiful. It was lit in such a way, and it really, you step into it and I'm like, okay, that's her world. It really felt like that. So I remember telling that to Dwayne and to our producers. I say, I'm sorry guys, I'm sure you heard this before, but this is really fantastic. I was very, very excited about it. They were probably like, yeah, we know it's fantastic, we work hard at it. But I was yeah, I was very surprised at the feelings.
You've also joined the final season of Ozark. And
Yes.
since you don't typically get to read scripts for an entire season of a TV show ahead of time, what made you want to be a part of that series? Was it specifically the character, or had you seen the show?
Well, it's not that I went and I tried. I wish they invited me to audition, and I was just hoping for the best. Like it's not like I choose projects. I'm not. I'm not in that position. But I do get to audition for great shows. Of course, I had seen Ozark and I loved it, and I love Laura and I love Jason. I followed Laura Linney as an actor. She's incredibly talented and inspiring. And so when I auditioned for Ozark, it was just exciting to be invited to audition for them. When they gave me the role, it was incredibly exciting. And it's funny because it's very, very different from what I do in Jungle. So as an actor, it's a really great gift if you're given the opportunity to play characters that are so incredibly different. It's really a gift for an actor. So I'm very grateful for that.
What can you say to tease the final season and your character and how she's going to fit into this world?
Well, I can't tell much. I can tell you that it's going to be a season that is going to really blow everyone away. They're going to love it. It's funny because most of the time you don't get the scripts, but little by little, but they have worked so hard in the show and they're so precise that they send me the scripts, and it's a big bunch of scripts to read. And I was like, oh my God, I hope I can finish this on time. I literally read them in 2 nights. That's how good they were. Like I was reading and I'm like, oh my God, no. Oh my God. Like I was really, so if that was my first reaction when I read the scripts, I think that once you see them on screen, you're really gonna go crazy, like everybody will. And the thing is, it's not only great writing and great actors, and everybody's good in the show. It's also, and I saw that when I met our showrunner and Laura and Jason, and Chris, the heart they put into the work. And it's the same with Jungle Cruise. If you see Dwayne, if you see, so every single show or film that I'm blessed to work with, that is successful, I think a lot of it has to do not only with the quality, but also with the heart and the soul that the people are really putting into it. That cannot be faked. people can see it and sense it. And that's why I think, even though they're very different, they're both very successful because of that, aside from all the other things.
What's it like to join such a popular show and to do so in its final season? Does it make things more nerve-wracking? Is it more reassuring? Do you always get nervous on a new project?
I always get nervous the first day. I always get nervous the first day, especially if I haven't worked with a cast. And of course, as I say, I'm a big fan of Laura as an actress. And the moment I met her, she was so warmed. She opened her arms like that and she said, "Veronica, welcome to Ozark." I fell in love with her right away. I said, "Oh my God, this is going to be fun." And the same with Jason and with Chris and with everybody else. It is a bit nerve wracking because they are just so good at it and you just want to do good. It was the same with Emily and Dwayne. I was like, oh my God, and Disney, they're so good at what they do and they are so precise and you just want to honor it and you just want to be good. So that puts a little bit of pressure on. But, once you start working, it's just fun because they're just so good at it. So you just need to be prepared and be ready with what you have to do. And then they will help you out. And it's great.
How was your experience on Perry Mason, which is another show that was a real surprise to me because I went into it thinking it might be one thing. And then I fell in love with the look of the show, especially being from Los Angeles, getting to see Los Angeles in a way that I haven't really seen it.
Yeah, I mean, that was another one of these incredibly blessed projects, I read the character of Lupe. And when the HBO sent the casting, they were really open for different ages. They were casting actors from 30 something to 40, 50 something. And I thought I would not really have much of a chance because Matthew Rhys is younger than me. And, not always is that easy that we get these roles as older actresses, even though, thank God, that is changing, very necessary. But I knew it's HBO, and I know they're so good and so so professional with every decision. And I thought, if they like it, if they think it works, even if I'm older or younger, they will just give it to me because it works. So I don't have to worry about that. I knew that. I also thought I might not get a chance, but even if I don't, just to audition for this role is going to be fun. So I auditioned for it and I luckily got it. And then I got to meet Matthew Rhys because most of my scenes are with Matthew and Tim Van Patten. And again, it was kind of like what happened with Jungle and with Ozark. Great people doing great work, being incredibly kind, generous, supportive, and it was an amazing. So I'm getting spoiled because I'm really getting to work with people that are on the top of their game, but they're also so genuinely supportive and nice and happy to have a Latina actress in the show and happy to work with different kind of actors. And I think that's very inspiring and it's very important.
What was it like to shoot the sex scene in season 1? I mean, do you have a laugh when you do something like that?
Yes, you do, because, first of all, it's incredibly choreographed, incredibly. Like, I know everybody, whenever we get asked these questions, all the actors say it's very technical and everybody rolls their eyes and like, yeah, sure it is. It really is, and especially with that scene, because we had to break the bed, literally. So we really have to figure out a way to do it. And it was very funny when we were rehearsing because we just got into all these positions and trying to figure out a way that it would be believable that they can break the bed. So we laugh a lot, but one of the loveliest things is Matthew was always like, "Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable? Are you okay? Do you feel okay?" I mean, it was lovely, So we had a lot of fun doing that scene, and yeah, it is very technical. Nowadays, we have in production what is called an intimacy coordinator, and it's someone that's there to make sure everything is okay and you're comfortable and everybody's being heard and all the scenes are precisely done. But yeah, we rehearsed that scene for around 2 or 3 hours, and then the day after we shot it. So yeah, that was fun, and people seem to like it. It's a funny scene, and I like the way the woman takes control. I think it's important to see all sorts of scenes when you're watching sex scenes.
Will you be in season 2 of the show? Have you had conversations about returning?
Well, they will do a season 2, and we all were happy. I know they were happy with my work, and I was certainly incredibly happy with being part of it. So, of course, if they would invite me, I would love to do it. But they're figuring out the whole second season, so I guess we'll hear about it. If they need me for the season. But if I don't get invited, I'm still gonna watch the show and applaud it because I love everyone, and I think it's a great show. It's very well done.
Yeah, and it's beautiful to look at. I mean, it
Yes,
was,
and I'm also a fan of that Los Angeles.
yeah.
So yeah, for me it was beautiful to see how they rebuilt so many parts of the city and then go visit them and see. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that era.
It sounds like your role in Falcon and the Winter Soldier was greatly affected by COVID. How much more had you shot than what we got to see?
Well, I was hired to be in 4 episodes. So we went to Prague to do that, and I finished the 4 episodes. But then, actually, the day that I finished shooting my last episode, that day, that was the day that everything got closed for COVID. So it was, incredibly strange for everybody because we still couldn't believe it. We had no previous experience, none of us all over the world, of what happened. And we couldn't believe it. It almost felt kind of surreal. So I remember arriving to the hotel and then they said, okay, we need to get everybody out. This is very serious. And they didn't finish that show in that moment. They had to go back and do it, and then at the end of the day, they have to reconstruct and rearrange the show. And in that reconstruction and rearrangement, my character got to play less. So I'm only in I think 1 or 2 very, very little scenes, and they did a great show. But everybody was adapting to the circumstances, and I think they did wonderfully. The show is very liked by the audience, and maybe one day I'll get to play that character again, or maybe they'll do something with it. But even if not, I totally understand and support what they did because we were all trying to do the best we could with what we had. And that was so many hours of work, so much time, that whatever they needed to do in terms of editing to make the show work for the audience, that's absolutely the right call. I still had a wonderful time shooting there. I got to visit Prague, which I have never been before, and I love the city, and everyone was kind, and it was a wonderful 2 weeks that I was there, and I'm so glad to hear the show is doing great.
Yeah, I mean, it was such an odd situation because, when production shut down, everybody was saying like, oh, it'll just be a couple of weeks. And then it sort of switched and everybody thought, well, maybe nothing will ever be able to get back into production again. Yeah. I mean, there were just those times when nobody knew what was happening. So that was one of the shows that seemed to really be like heavily in the middle of all of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, what is that a situation where like, do they let you know? Like, did they call and explain all of that to you? Like, how did you find out about?
Well, they are very decent. They did. I knew what was happening because I was there, and then they did call my agent and say, "Listen, we love Veronica, but this is what happened, and we look forward to work with her again." And that's more than a lot of companies would do. Marvel and Disney do take care of their talent, and at least in my case, I had a wonderful experience with both of them, which is the same. But I remember they give a quick call to my agent, and I really appreciated it because they really don't have to. They are solving bigger problems. Like they have a huge production with a lot of people, pandemic on top, and they still have the time to say, "Hey, just tell the actress that this is what happened." Like I would be fine either way, But I really appreciated the call. But I totally understand, and believe me, we're all trying to do the best we can with everything that's happening. So, yeah.
You're doing projects that are all over the map as far as genre and the types of characters that you're playing. At this point in your life and career, what do you look for? Is there something that's most important to you? Does it start with the script? Is there anything that is an absolute no for you? How do you approach that?
Well, I absolutely, I like characters that are well written. That's one thing that for me is very important. How well written is a character? If it's rounded, believable, all that. And Of course, I love working with people I admire, that I think I can learn from, and that can provide like a challenge, a professional challenge to learn, to be a better actor. I'm very curious about all sorts of genres and media, you know. And the absolute no for me would be disrespect. You know, when there's a set or someone that is disrespectful to anybody, to people in general, or their own kind, or they're like, that's a no-no for me. Like, I don't care who they are. Like, I think if we haven't heard right now that we have to treat everybody with respect and kindness. But luckily enough, I never have to worry about that. I've been very, very blessed with that. So now, I just want characters that are challenging and take me from one place to the spectrum to the other. You know, I would love to do um, a Shakespearean character, for example. You know, it's something that I've never done in film or in television. I did a little bit of theater like that. I would love to do characters that require a lot of physical work, because let's face it, I don't know how much longer I can do that at 55. So I'd like to take it back. I mean, of course, we've seen Helen Mirren do, you know, action, and she's killing it and she's gorgeous, you know, but I think she was gorgeous her whole time. It's not like I'm going to turn into Helen Mirren. I wish. So yeah, like, you know, that. And I would love to do characters in, I would love to do something that's shot in a place I've never been, you know, just because you have a chance to meet the people and to be in that location. So yeah, but it's a good story, you know, a good story that calls me.
I mean, I would be all for like a Disney Plus series of Trader Sam and like what her life is
That would be
outside of
fun, right?
Jungle
That would be
Cruise, because
so much
I feel like
fun.
there's so much more story to tell with her.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do something like that. You know, that would be like an absolute gift to be able to explore a character that way. And I could only be so blessed if that happened, you know. But yeah, I think, you know, after going through the pandemic, I think I've been an actor for over 30 years, and every single thing I get now is, I just see it as a gift, you know, and I try to work very hard, and I try to honor it, and I try to do the best I can. And that's already a lot.
Well, I loved you in Jungle Cruise. I appreciate you talking to me about that and everything else. It's been so fun to see like the female pirate that's been added to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and now a female Trader Sam. I just think is really an awesome choice.
Yeah, me too. I love that Disney is doing that, and it's important. You know, it is really important for women and for little girls everywhere, and in general for everybody, because it's not only a woman thing. I think the more we treat each other with equality and with respect, the better we all be, whether you're a man or a woman. You know, so Disney is doing that part, and I love to be that I'm being part of that. So thank you so much for the interview, Christina, and thank you. It's so lovely to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And I'll definitely be looking forward to Ozark. So thank you.